in a world where dinosaurs roam free, consuming everything, and humans are nearly going extinct. Well, that's not exactly what they say on the poster or in the trailer, but that is the idea I'm getting, because, like Jeff Goldblum says, life finds a way. And we're not at the top of the food chain anymore. But I am really excited because I'm waiting for a buddy of mine, but I'm excited because I'm getting to see not just Jurassic World Dominion tonight, which I'm excited for in itself, but I get to see the original Jurassic Park on a big screen. I've seen that movie many times, but I had never seen it on the big screen. So I'm really excited to see what it was like when people first would have seen it many years ago, or at least it feels like many years ago, and get that experience. I know some people might be like, well, why do you have to see a movie in theaters if you already have it? Because I have a copy of this film. There is no experience for me more than getting to see a movie on the big screen. That's where it's meant to be. And just the idea of getting some semblance of that feeling that people had when they first saw a movie, the expectation, not knowing what's going to happen, that part's hard because we know what's going to happen now. I just love that. I love getting to see the movies the way they were meant to be seen. For example, I saw Wizard of Oz on the big screen. That was interesting, and that was a trip in itself, and forgot just how scary that movie was. I saw Batman Returns. Loved it. But probably one of the best ones I saw was E.T. the Extraterrestrial, because that's such a well-known movie, a beloved film, and just getting to see what that was like was fantastic. Though my favorite ones by far, getting to see Raiders of the Lost Ark in a private theater, getting to see Aladdin the Animated in a private theater, and Batman and Robin in a private theater. Absolutely love that. So if you can't tell, I love seeing old movies on the big screen because that's the way they were meant to be seen, and just the experience with people. As for Jurassic World Dominion, I am excited for this. I've heard not great reviews for this movie. Most of them are mediocre to bad. But all I want are dinosaurs eating people, dinosaur action, some laughs, just a good time. See what it's like if dinosaurs were real and they were free. They weren't in parks. They were free to just roam about the earth. With two different casts come together that we know and we love. I'm just looking for a good time. I don't really care too much if the plot makes sense or not, because dinosaurs being real and coming back from the dead, yeah, I don't think that's really going to happen. It could, because us humans are just that dumb. But I just want a good movie. Plots, let's be honest, like I said, the other plots of the films kind of lukewarm at times. So for me, that's a minor detail. But I'm really excited to see this movie. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a quick review out once I get out. That's my goal. But it's probably going to be like 11 o'clock, midnight by the time I get out, or even when I'm getting home. So we'll see. If not, I will definitely have one up tomorrow. Yes, I will have one up tomorrow if I don't get one up tonight. Anyway, I'll stop talking because I don't know what people think of me right now. But yeah, looking forward to this. So let's go back to Jurassic Park. Or, in other words, welcome to Jurassic World. I just got out of seeing Jurassic World Dominion. And yes, I did also see the original Jurassic Park again. But that's going to come in a new series that I'm doing called Retro Unedited Movie Reviews. And so look for those very soon. Jurassic Park will be the first one. But now let's talk about the newest installment in this fantastic franchise overall, Jurassic World Dominion. And to help me, I've got my good friend Rob here, who decided he would join me, and I love that. So Rob, now I want to clarify, we have not talked about this movie at all. We literally just got out. Correct, Rob? We've not talked about this.
I haven't at all. just the original. So, Rob, what are your thoughts on this movie?
It's dumb Saturday morning cartoon stuff, which is what the first Jurassic World was and what the franchise should be, because you can't remake Jurassic Park. We made 2 sequels to Jurassic Park. They're both not great. It's pretty universally agreed. I like them. I like every movie in this franchise except Fallen Kingdom. But the more dumb Saturday morning cartoon you go with it, the better it is.
So, that's his overall opinion. We'll dive a little more into it then. But what I think, this movie's great. I'm sorry, I have loved all the Jurassic World movies in general. Yes, Fallen Kingdom was probably the worst of the 3, if we're doing that. But oh my gosh, this movie's good. I do not know what these critics are talking about, saying that this is stupid for the most part. You know, it's more mediocre. I loved it. Yes, I will say the beginning was a little slow. Kind of didn't work at first. But by the end, I'm laughing. I'm smiling. I'm having a good time. I'm getting what I want. And I don't know about you, but I am very glad that we rewatched the first one. Because there is so much stuff in this new one that you appreciate so much more if you've rewatched that first one.
Well, Trevorrow likes his callbacks, and I mean, it's a little heavy on it, but that's fine.
But it's not done poorly. There are sometimes...
I mean, it's been done much worse. I've seen it done much worse. But the most important thing is that the real Ghostbusters, or, you know, all of the Men in Black show, the cartoons based on all ages action adventure movies, those were all very good. Everybody loves those shows, and that's the spirit that the first and third Jurassic World movies have. They take the relatively serious grounded premise and they ease off of the realism and make it a little more silly, and that works. It works really well.
Now, I will clarify one thing. We all know there's probably somebody out there who doesn't love the original the Ghostbusters TV show. It's all subjective, but there's probably very few. But let's talk about just some of the general things quickly. First, let's talk about the story. I thought the story, for the most part, was well executed. Yes, there's plenty of plot holes, as there is in anything, and there's stupid things that happen.
I mean, to be honest, I think this is maybe one of the most well thought out of the 3, especially because it is just an excuse for set pieces, as a lot of movies are. Like, the scripts get written as an excuse to do X, Y, and Z, but you can do that better or worse, and this does it better.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense why the cast end up together. Yes, you can pick this movie apart like you can anyone, where it's like, okay, that's a contrived reason to get them there. Big deal. It's a movie.
It's
a script.
It's gonna be contrived. The movie at its heart, it is going to be contrived, but you go in understanding that it's gonna be that, and just going like, well, yeah, this is your childhood Jurassic Park fan fiction where you're the coolest guy in the world who lassos dinosaurs on horseback, and, you know, that's fine. That's okay that's what the movie is, and it as that thing, the first Jurassic World and Dominion execute that flawlessly.
I probably should say, I should have mentioned this earlier, we're not going to spoil anything, so you don't have to worry that we're going to reveal anything, because yeah, we don't do that. We're fans. He's a Marvel fan, comic book fan like me. We know no spoilers. So I just want to make sure you know there won't be spoilers here. As for we're talking about the story, the other thing I will point out, or I noticed, it kind of seemed like it was divided into 2 distinct movies that were put together, in the sense that you have the globe-trotting, you got kind of thriller, the spy, espionage one at the beginning, the first half of the movie, and then you get Jurassic World at the second half.
And that's one of those things where I could trim 40 minutes out of this movie, and frankly, I would have preferred if we just did more globetrotting, because that was
what they kind of said in the trailers.
Well, and that's where it shines. It's just like, well, we did dinosaurs on an island. We did a survival thing on an island 3.5 times already.
I know this is called Unedited, but I'm sorry, there was just a lot of noise. Anyway, continuing with what we were saying, this movie does have 2 things, but as you said, we got the same thing so many times. How many times can you do
being trapped in a place with dinosaurs, like, kind of got fully explored in the first movie, but then they kept essentially rehashing that plot. Like, at least for the first almost 2 hours of this film, you are seeing a new thing, which is, well, what if we dumped dinosaurs into the world at large, which is really all you can do. And that's super interesting in comparison to just like, well, we're running around in a forest to get away from dinosaurs.
I mean, and that's what I know some people will probably want that. And that's why they might not like this part. But to be honest, you got to do something different. What we've done has been done to death. Okay, let's talk about the cast. I love having both sets of cast together. It's just fun. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people.
They, again, with the understanding that like there is a contrived reason to put the old cast in there. We got good performances out of the old cast. They were game. They were down to do it. They,
clearly they were having fun doing it too.
I mean, that's the point. And that's at least where there was enough restraint in terms of, it's like, yes, you're doing a lot of callbacks. You're doing so many callbacks, Colin, but they were well executed.
I thought that overall they did really well. It was fun seeing certain characters pair off with each other, and that's when you realize, okay, yeah, that was supposed to be this character, and this was this callback. But at the same point, that's fun, but I have to admit, one of the minor issues I have with this movie, which I'll go into more detail later, some of the old cast, specifically, I hate to say it, but Goldblum, kind of felt a little out of place. It didn't quite feel like the Malcolm from the original or the evolution of Malcolm. I saw Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum more than I saw
I don't know.
Malcolm.
He was always just kind of being Jeff Goldblum.
It's great. I love it. But I couldn't help noticing a little bit.
There were a lot of tweaks. And Laura Dern only got one movie. And so Ellie Sattler isn't a super complicated character. Alan Grant and Ian Malcolm as characters each get 2 movies, but they're weird scenarios that they get put in. I frankly would have liked some kind of conversation with them about both being on Ila Sorna.
And there are some points that certain things I know people have talked about just in fandom that it kind of, without saying what they are, they either don't address it or they do address it in a way that's like, your theory is either right or it's wrong.
Well, I mean,
it's just kind of fun. It's just one of those things, I noticed.
I can watch another one of these movies every couple years of just, there are dinosaurs wandering around in public places.
But maybe, give us different characters.
I don't need any of these people to come back.
I feel like their stories are done.
I don't need any of these people ever again.
Not that they're not fun, but
we
never need them again.
And I think the bigger point is that while I love the characters of the Jurassic Park franchise, nobody is like, man, I certainly love the Jurassic Park films for their characters.
You come to see the dinosaurs for the most part. It's for the dinosaurs.
And again, the movie understands that. It gives you dinosaurs. Lots of dinosaurs all the time, including 2 that have been when will they put this dinosaur in the Jurassic Park franchise dinosaurs for almost 20 years.
So, good segue. Let's talk about the dinosaurs briefly. There's a lot of the classic ones in here, but there's also a ton of new ones.
Well, and
at least ones we haven't seen.
If we're going to talk about stuff in the trailers,
so
Quetzalcoatlus and Therizinosaurus are the 2 that have been if you are a weird dinosaur dork and Jurassic Park
which
fan,
I admit I am not a dinosaur dork.
I am. So those were the 2 that people have been saying for decades now. Hey, when will they put those in Jurassic Park films? And in general, those are the 2 best done of the new creatures.
So let me ask you something then about the dinosaurs, because I was kind of curious about this. Is every creature in there a actual dinosaur? Like an actual...
Yes.
because we've created dinosaurs. We've done that.
No hybrids. They talked about it in the movie and outside, like in the production stuff. No hybrids.
Because that was what I was just curious if there were any created. Because some of these I'm like, wait, that's a dinosaur?
Well, and like, so I have a hyper weird criticism of the Jurassic World franchise in that the production design of the Velociraptors is wrong and bad. It's very specific and very much a weird me thing about creature design, but the Jurassic World Velociraptors look wrong. They just don't get the head and face right. And watching it back to back with the original film really drives home that, like, one, those original Velociraptors in the original Jurassic Park look pretty puppety sometimes. Their eyes get a little bobbly a little sometimes and aren't quite looking in the same direction. They really perfected it in Jurassic Park 3, a movie that is bad but has great dinosaur production design. But things like the Pyroraptor, the feathered one that inexplicably swims, the new Atrociraptors, and Blue and her baby, they look off to me. But they're all real animals. Like,
I mean, I thought, again, having watched the first one and then this one, which is great, I will say I know I said this before, but I do recommend watching the first one before you watch this. It helps a ton. You can't deny that the CG and the look and just the feel of the dinosaurs have gotten so much better since that original. They feel more real.
It's been almost 30 years.
Yeah, so I mean, I would expect it, but they look great. There's no denying that they look great, for the most part.
Well, I don't think there's anything in there that you can go, that looks bad. And they did a lot of practical stuff, I think specifically to please people like me who bitch about,
Everything?
Yeah, but specifically like, why don't they make any robots for movies anymore? Why aren't there any? So they did a big, the Giganotosaurus had a full robot model. They did the Dilophosaurus in a real robot model. A bunch of those other scenes had, animatronics in them too that all look really good. They hold up too, in addition to the good CG. I think the production design on Therizinosaurus and Quetzalcoatlus they're JP style dinosaurs, so they're not perfectly realistic. They're not, up to date, but they are, pretty close.
So I will get into more of my thoughts, more in depth, when I do a spoiler video, which, yes, I will actually do a spoiler video for this, hopefully this weekend, so stay tuned for that. But the one thing I do want to say, or at least give you a hint about what I'm going to talk about, there's so many things in this movie that are like, okay, we've seen this in the Jurassic Park movies, we've seen this in the Jurassic World, but there's a bunch of other influences you can tell from other films, many of which, well, I'm going to say about half of which are Spielberg films.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just give you, there's two examples right off the top of my head. So I could see Alien or Aliens, some influence from there, and Indiana Jones, especially in a couple very funny moments. So Rob, let's pull this up. Let's, start shutting down on this review. Before we give it a rating, and I'll explain my rating real quick for you. Final thoughts on this film?
If you liked the first Jurassic World but not the second one, this one is as good as the first one.
Okay, so real quick, I do a superhero rating to try and be different. So we've got, and for those of you who didn't watch that video, here's a crash course. We've got supervillain, sucks basically. Then we go minion, we go civilian, we go sidekick, hero, and mentor, with mentor being the highest. So where would you rank this film as far as that rating goes?
I mean, I'll give this movie a hero.
A hero?
Like, it's not an Oscar-worthy, stick with you forever movie, maybe. But if you like dinosaurs or are a kid, this could be your favorite movie, frankly.
I mean, yes, I said in my Top Gun Maverick review, that movie is great, but it's not going to be my favorite one because I'm biased towards superheroes. It's just the case. But I'm going to agree with you as well. I will give this movie a ranking of superhero because there are things that I couldn't help but notice and kind of took me out at moments. There were some things that did kind of bug me, which of course I got to see it again. Rob's going again this weekend. Maybe I will. But now that I've seen it, I can go in and just try to watch it and not rank it, judge it for what I want it to be. But besides those couple little things, overall, it's a fun movie. It's definitely part of the Jurassic franchise. If you like Jurassic Park in any way, there's going to be something here for you. You like that original one? There's going to be stuff here for you. You like any of Jurassic World? There's stuff here for you. I can't say don't go. I recommend you see this. You see it on the big screen. It'll be lots of fun. So, until my next review, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. What did you think of this movie if you've seen it by the time you get to this review? Are we totally off basis here? Is this the worst Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movie ever? Is it the best one ever? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, don't forget, enjoy what you love, read what you love, and let's all work for a better fandom. I'll see you next time.